Another day in the NBA, closing out the NBA week strong, hopefully, with at least a multi-game NBA slate we've got going tonight. And the prep work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel for our NBA slates. We're going to compare my data to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see what their data thinks about things, see what mine thinks, and then they're going to dock and meet somewhere in the middle. We'll talk about ownership as well. We'll see what that looks like along the way. We'll hop over to the Sims, see what the Sims think without my interference. By this video, you know all the must plays for the NBA today, November 7th. Along with my splash plays. So let's get into it. Shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you guys bearing with me here a few minutes late on the start, which I try not to do, but I had to jump off my NFL streams. Just did about 2 hours of NFL streams. Had to cut it into podcast form, put timestamps on. Had to also jam a bagel in my face. Had to maybe vape a bag. Had to do all those things. So that's why we are starting 3 minutes late here, but I am working like a Jamaican, apparently. I am working hard today. It is 4 hours of streams for me today, including later today, Stokastic's Live Before Lock with my pal Greg Ehrenberg. So tune into that. But I appreciate all you guys being here with me and bearing with me as I'm working hard. I cram way too much content in on a Friday. That is a flaw in my process. But the work begins right now with my projections, and it starts with Nikola Jokic, a guy that is not on our DraftKings slate today. A 63 fantasy point projection for him. If you're playing that DK late slate, he looks good. I don't even think FanDuel is including the last two games today. So the NBA, always fun to play in DFS and never know which games you're getting. But on DraftKings, you're usually not going to get the late games because they don't want you to have to swap around. So you won't be able to swap Nikola Jokic. He is a good play. He's playing well, and we know how it goes, but I'll save some time not talking about him too much. Giannis, 11.6 salary for him today. I have him projected for 60.6 fantasy points. Stokastic has him for 58.9. That said, I am not getting him very much. 11% sim ownership right now. Fields at 28%. Giannis, always a guy I'm happy to get on slates. That said, when the field is there and I am naturally getting more evenly built lineups, a lot of guys in the 6 to 7K salary range and a few in the 9K range that I'm getting a lot of. That's how my lineups look so far today. Certainly for Giannis, though, you are getting a matchup against the Chicago team that is not very good, plays with a lot of pace, 102.5 possessions per game for Chicago. Really, that's all. I mean, it's a high total. Milwaukee, good team total for them as well with 122.5 implied. Giannis is putting up 1.89 fantasy points a minute. So like we talked about earlier in the year, he's not going to hold at 2 fantasy points a minute, but he's holding about as close as you can. That's not that. So for Giannis, I think if you get him today, I have no issue with it. In fact, my data would support it. But in the sim, because of the fact that I am getting more balanced builds, hard for me to afford Giannis on the slate without any crazy values, as we'll see in a moment. And I appreciate the kind words from Austin here. Thanks for the best, or time for the best projections in the game. I hope so. But if you want to get the best projections in the game, do make sure to join the channel here on the Squirt Squad tiers, and you can get all the stuff I show you here on screen, including exportable projections for your optimizers or your sims or whatever you're doing. Wemby, pretty big gap behind Giannis overall in projection. Wemby, not a great matchup as well for him. First of all, it's NBA Cups. I should say that up top. And NBA Cup nights in general, you can expect slightly more minutes for star players. Teams trying to rack up the point differential that helps you advance if you are on the bubble advancing. And obviously for the NBA Cup, teams still don't care as much as they do for the playoffs. It's not one of those things where every team players start playing, as who are normally playing 30 minutes, start playing 35, 36, 37, maybe get into the 40s. It's not happening for the NBA Cup, but you will see a few more minutes tacked on here and there. Teams trying a little bit more here and there because of how the structure works. So there's something to keep in mind because it is all NBA Cup games tonight. But Wemby gets Houston in a not great team total. That's the spot that doesn't look that great. And it really comes down to matchup here. Giannis versus Chicago. Obvious there. Pace up. Not a great defense. Wemby versus Houston. Good defense. Slight pace down. It's not a Wemby spot on paper. Does that mean he can't block Şengün 100 times today or Steven Adams if he's playing? For sure he can. I mean, you got a lot of guys at Houston that I feel like are pretty blockable, Durant aside. I think for Wemby, sure, he could always hit that ceiling, but projection-wise today, you're not getting him in the ownership. I'm not getting him in the projection, and Giannis looks a lot better. So that's what the slate is for today. Obviously, Wemby at low ownership. You want to play that upside, you can, because nobody's going to be there. But they're not there for a reason. Chalk becomes chalk for a reason. They're the best plays. Low-owned plays become low-owned plays for a reason, usually. They're not quite as well projected as others. We got Josh Giddey, SGA, late slate as well. He looks decent SGA looking a little bit less good because some of the guys, Isaiah Joe starting the year hot, AJ Mitchell, we've talked about a lot. He's producing pretty well. But today you're adding Aaron Wiggins to the injured list. You are getting Chet Holmgren back, who's also been playing well to start the year. But for the Thunder right now, SGA, to me, a little bit less well projected than last year. The entire offense is not flowing through him in the exact same way. So for the late slate, to me, he looks a lot less good than Nikola Jokic, but SGA, certainly the ceiling is there any given game, and especially in NBA Cup kind of games, could be good for him. Josh Giddey, the Giddler, back in the thumbnail for the second time this week. Went nuts for us earlier in the week, and he's 9,300 still. Giddey, I would argue, playing about as well as anybody to start the year. Besides your top tier stars, 1.42 fantasy points a minute on 28% usage, 40% assist rate. No Kobe White out there has been great for him. Trey Jones spikes a little bit, does take some assist upside occasionally. But Giddey's the guy who's got the ball in his hands, and this dude's doing everything. Triple-double last game for him. Was heavily above the field then. I don't want to necessarily be this high above 57% exposure for him. Fields at 18. Like, Cade's been playing really well, especially with Tobias Harris out lately. He's a guy that I don't want to be zeroed out on, but I'm zeroed out because of how much better Giddey projects at $1,100 less. Like, Giddey's playing incredibly well, and if you told me he put up 60 today versus Milwaukee, I wouldn't be shocked. But Milwaukee is a league average defense that is a slight pace down, and it feels like they could always defend better in a given day when you have Giannis, when you have Miles Turner. Ryan Rollins tries pretty hard out there, even though he's not some shutdown guy. There are ways this could not work out, so I don't want to go nuts on Giddey, but projection-wise, he is all over the place. And Crying Willie Batman, it's the Giddler. Yes, the Giddler is... it's tough, man. You hook up with one 17-year-old and you're Josh Giddey, and you never live it down. But yeah, Josh Giddey, he projects well. He's playing well. And the total's there too. But the Bulls, if they were to get smoked here, it'd be surprising relative to Vegas total. Only a 4.5-point dog on the road. But if you told me they got smoked too, I guess I wouldn't be shocked by it. Cade Cunningham, playing really well lately with Tobias Harris out. Actually, juked Cade Cunningham's rates a little bit because he has been technically a little bit lower usage, a little bit lower assist rate overall, but he's been pretty efficient with what he's doing out there, so that's been kind of the trade-off. But Cade, basically the big issue for him in my projection set right now when going against Brooklyn, a matchup that obviously you're not too afraid about. Number one, pretty decent pace down, losing about 3 possessions relative to how slow Brooklyn plays. But number two, Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, Isaiah Stewart, these guys all are producing over 1 fantasy point per minute. And in Duren's case, 1.4, Stewart 1.1, Asar Thompson also 1.1. These guys are all taking enough production away in my data that Cade Cunningham looks like he's playing a little bit over his head. But Cade's playing super well, so I don't want to be zeroed out on him. I am right now, but my projection of 49.3, a little bit behind Stokastic at 50.9. Down with underage or whatever the Australian saying is. Yeah, I think for Australia, 17 wouldn't be underage. I know. I don't know the statutory limits of everything across the entire globe. But I don't know. LaMelo Ball, 9,800. I believe he's still a Q tag as of right now, assuming he plays in the data set. He doesn't look like a great play, but 10% ownership, he and Cade Cunningham. I think both are fine. LaMelo not playing quite as well with Brandon Miller off because he does lose some assist upside, but he's in a game with Miami with a 239.5 implied total. No Bam Adebayo. That rim defense definitely gets a little bit softer. So I think for LaMelo, really no gripes with him besides the fact he's a bit banged up. Oh, Ball and Sexton both doubtful, just updated. Okay. Well, that's an increase then for Bridges. Sexton being out. Okay. I mean, Bridges the big winner. Bridges when we're getting the 2 usage guys out. As you guys know, last year, if you watched the shows at all, I would get Miles Bridges a lot with LaMelo out. Trey Mann, I would think, comes up a good amount. Konka Nipple is going to look better as well. Last game when Sexton was out, KJ Simpson came in a little bit. Trey Mann came in after KJ Simpson. He played 24 minutes, but he played... I think Trey Mann should start here, but it's possible they go KJ Simpson. Whoever starts is going to look pretty good. Sorry, I'm looking at the popcorn machine at a different tab. Whoever starts is going to look pretty good, but LaMelo, now doubtful, not a play. But I'm not sure it's Trey Mann's season. I think he'll be a much better play. I think it's absolutely Miles Bridges season, no matter who's out there. Trey Mann this year, 25% usage, 17% assist rate. Not shooting super well at 47% true shooting. That'll get better, but against Miami, maybe not the spot. It gets all the way better. Yeah, I think Mann's going to look good no matter what, just because of the minutes. KJ Simpson, if he starts, though, at 3,500 would be a much more appealing play to me than Mann at almost 5K. But anyway, LaMelo out, so fuck it. There you go. We got Jalen Johnson here, $8,800 salary. Fields at 20%. I'm at 10. My projection about 0.8 lower than Stokastic at 44.2 for me, 45 for them. Jalen Johnson's been playing well without Trae Young. His assist upside as well, about a 30% assist rate without Trae Young this year. That looks good. But you still have enough guys in Atlanta right now. I mean, Dyson Daniels, as we talked about a lot on these slates, he's not really taking a big leap up in terms of his usage, but he does get a little bit more. Alexander Walker is almost a 30% usage rate guy without Trae Young out there. Porzingis is also about a 28% usage rate guy with Trae Young not out there. It's a lot of dudes getting shots up. Okongwu still gets his. There's a lot of people overall getting shots up for Atlanta. So Jalen Johnson, a good play, I think, at 8,800. Not a play I'm above on, and I am going to be above, I think, or at least, I'm going to be above on both Porzingis and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Those guys look a little bit better for me, but I have no issue with Jalen Johnson, really. Toronto is still a matchup, too. That's totally fine. Average across the board defensively. A little bit worse, probably. Jaylen Brown has gone really well to start the year in terms of his shooting. Still hasn't had the upside previously that he had occasionally when Tatum would be out in previous years. As I've mentioned enough times for Boston, and we'll see it in a moment, we go game by game for that view. Jaylen Brown shooting really well to start the year. Not so much for Derek White, not so much for Peyton Pritchard. Those guys will claw back as better shooters as the year goes on. Jaylen Brown, I would think it's a little bit worse. But at 8,500, he's playing well enough. Projects about 7 fantasy points higher for me than Stokastic. That said, only got him 0% in my lineups. Stokastic got him at 1%. He might come up a little bit more. Jalen Duren, guys playing at a 1.4 fantasy point minute pace to start the year. Part of why my Cade Cunningham's perhaps a little bit light is because of how well Duren is playing. He's only 13% expected owned here. I think much like last slate when he went off, if Stewart is anything owned at all, getting Duren is pretty good leverage against him. That said, if Duren is owned and if his ownership picks up at 13% or more than the 13% projected right now, I think at that point, then consider Stewart more. It's the yin and yang of everything. There's only one pie to go around. There's only so many stats to go around. And unless the team goes nuts, or if Cade Cunningham fails miserably, Asar Thompson, same thing, you're not going to have a lot of times where Duren and Stewart are putting up massive outlier games, as their price tag rises as well. So I think Duren's still good at 7,500, but he and Stewart obviously have that push-pull dynamic to be mindful of. In Alpert Şengün, I've got at 42.5. Stokastic has at 42.4. Not much ownership going there, but he is one guy at 9,500 that will be seemingly entirely unowned, while people will play Giddey, will play Cunningham, will play LaMelo. Oh, well, not play LaMelo now. They'll play the first two. So that's something where if you go to Şengün and get that right, you leap the field that way. Let's sort by value now. They'll do the game-by-game view. We'll run a sim without my interference and just Stokastic data in a moment. But guys, if you get any value out of this, please do help me out. Hit that like button, subscribe. This channel's grown at a great rate, but that doesn't mean I don't want it to grow more because I'm putting a lot of work in every day. Number one, creating these projections for you guys, obviously giving you guys access as well when you join the channel, but also just making sure I'm prepared, have everything aligned. Days like today where I'm doing the NFL slate work as well. Yesterday too, same thing. I'm still here doing the work as best I can for you guys in the NBA, and that's my promise. So please help me out here and keep fighting that YouTube algorithm by hitting the like button, subscribing, and of course, join the Discord as well. Easy to get access to the Discord by clicking the link down in the description when you do join the channel here. But basically, if you join the Discord at one of the Squirt Squad tiers, you get all the data I show you here on screen updated throughout the night. And if you don't join the Discord, then you die. It's a black phone situation, and that's how it goes. Good job, Spags. Thank you for that. I'll also take people saying good job, patting me on the head. That's also fine. And Stokastic too, 15% off, link down below. Big way I support what I'm doing here is you guys signing up for Stokastic data, membership, Sims tools, whatever you get on there. The cheap stuff, the expensive stuff, it's all 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. That's the only promo they have going right now. So please do click that link down below and check it out because I would love to make money. Money's cool. Money helps. Terrence Mann, So the Nets without Cam Thomas had to juke some rates a little bit for guys there because really everybody benefits a little bit from not having Cam Thomas out there. Not a surprise given what a ball hog he is. But I did bump Terrence Mann up a little bit more. I have him at a 27.9 projection. Stokastic has him at 22.8. The reason is that I gave Mann a little bit more usage. And that was basically it. Gave him 20% usage when he's been at 15.4 on the year. But his rates actually go a little bit higher when Cam Thomas is out. It's not a big enough sample size. He won 1,000 possessions. It's been like 250 or so for a lot of these Nets without Cam Thomas on the floor. That said, for Terrence Mann, he takes a jump up in terms of opportunity. And Detroit, another league average, a little bit better than that defense. Not super worried about it. And just the Nets have a lot of opportunity to fill because Cam Thomas is a literal black hole. When you have a black hole kind of player who's out of the lineup, everybody's going to get more opportunities. So one guy might win out, like Michael Porter Jr., who I worked out so well for us in the projections in the last slate at 8% ownership or whatever it was. Like he might take the most by a decent clip, but you still get upticks for everybody else because like Cam Thomas is leaving behind about 50% of the possessions. I think, 35% usage rate or so, 15% assist rate, maybe a little bit less than that. It's a lot to go around for these other guys. Nick Claxton, Terrence Mann, both of them coming up above the field for me. Claxton had over 50 fantasy points last game, went nuts. Sims definitely benefited mid-game from Cam Thomas being out. Claxton loves to bring the ball up and stuff and do like dumb shit like that because it doesn't matter. But when Cam Thomas is out, he could do it even more. Claxton at 6K, he just went for 50. Definitely getting a little bit of that in my projection where I am weighting these season's games. That's 4 times the value per game to try to get those guys' projections closer to where they are in the longer term sample size. For Nick Claxton, he's playing well. The minutes are there. Brooklyn, I think, is a fun team. This might be sacrilege because like the total still sucks. Even the game total for this one, 227.5, nowhere near some of those like 240-ish ones we've talked about. But like without Cam Thomas, these guys do stuff and they're kind of fun. And Porter Jr. looks like pretty spry out there. He's chucking 9 threes a game, but like Claxton's not bad. He takes the ball up. He's pretty aggressive defensively. He is also a ball hog in his own way. Tyrese Martin gets some shots up. Noah Clowney, same thing. Those guys aren't as fun. Terrence Mann, we know, has more upside from what he's done in the past. I think there's more he can do. He's flashing a little bit of like the every category upside for the Nets. I like them today. So that's really the main thing to take away from the Nets. I'm above on a lot of them, including Mann, Claxton, and Michael Porter Jr., who's one of my priority plays on the slate and definitely will be a splash play later on in the video. Daniel Gafford. Last game played pretty well. I don't remember his exact fantasy total, but I do remember him playing well and being out there a lot. Let's see. Popcorn machine real fast for Gafford. Played 25 minutes, a little bit less than it felt like he was out there. I think he had foul trouble at this point. No, he didn't. 1 foul. He had 2 fouls, but they took him out a little bit early. Definitely seems like he's minutes limited by a little bit. He played a lot in the second half. I think that's why I felt like he played more. But he put up 15 points, 10 peripherals, a little bit under his production from last year to start the year, but he was like a killer whenever he got time out there without AD last year. Lively, also out still. So Daniel Gafford, only a 24.2 minute projection from Stokastic. His minutes should keep creeping up game by game, so maybe he gives you 26, 27 today. I think that he is another strong play, and he's a guy that last year my data liked a lot when we did have the big men out. A lot of teams been killing Memphis. I'm not like a center DVP guy by any stretch, but Gafford being good, teams being bad versus Memphis, I think there is a potential win-win for Gafford today at 5K. Cam Spencer is coming up a little bit as a value. Not super exciting play overall, but he is somebody that allows you to get on some plays here at 3,500. He's expected to play 18, 19 minutes for Memphis tonight, producing 1.04 fantasy points a minute, assisting a little bit because there really hasn't been a backup point guard that's emerged. So Cam Spencer is that guy playing fractional Ty Jerome from this year, what they hope to get out of him. But he's out there, so not a bad play. Getting 4%, fields of 2, doesn't really matter. Excuse me. Jalen Duren, we talked about, getting 2x the field on him. Michael Porter Jr., definitely one of the best projection plays in my data last slate that he was on. I'm back there again. He's had 30% usage with Cam Thomas off the court. He's rebounding, assisting at a better clip than you would think for Michael Porter Jr. And you watch him play, and like he's playing big, but still, again, getting up 9 3-point attempts per game. But he's got also a 17% assist rate on the year. Like, it's not that bad for a guy like Michael Porter Jr. This is a guy that I think people thought they were going to get out of college, and instead you got this kind of 3-and-D where the defense is not very good version in Denver for a while. Now we're kind of seeing what he can do, and I think it's fun. Sar Thompson maybe makes it a little bit tougher on him today, but I don't really care about 1v1 matchups that much. So I'm cool with Porter Jr., but getting a lot of the nets in general, and if Porter Jr. does come down to earth a little bit, having these other nets definitely come up, I think would not be a surprise. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I have it at 34.5 projection. Stokastic has at 32.2. He's the big usage winner with Trae Young off the court. It's putting up just shy of 30% usage with Young not playing. So I've got him at 39% today. Stokastic has him at 24% expected ownership. I think he's a good play. Atlanta, get a lot of guys that do get shots up. If somebody does get hot, that would certainly take some opportunity away. But I think this should be a competitive game versus Toronto. Atlanta is a favorite here. 2.5-point favorite at home. Toronto a little sluggish after going to Magic City last night. Who knows? But I think really for them, they have a lot of guys on Toronto's side that can put up points. Atlanta has guys that can score, and going against an average, a little bit worse than average defense. I like Alexander Walker. I like loading up on Hawks. I'll be definitely playing those looks a lot today. AJ Mitchell for the late slate looks pretty good. Getting a lot of opportunity to go around with Wiggins being added to the walking wounded for the Thunder. Cedric Coward still shooting unsustainably well. It's going to keep creeping down. But Memphis, there's opportunity there. The rotation's clearly rewarding him with minutes. Projected to play 30 minutes today. 5,500 feels a little bit lofty for him. But, he's an older rookie. He's playing well. I think at this point, he's kind of just a rotational guy that I'm sure I am getting because the salary works. And my projection's about 4.5 fantasy points higher than Stokastic's for Cedric Coward. We take him in 12% of lineups, fields at 5. Not really a big stand there. Andrew Wiggins. So it has not been a lot of minutes this year with Bam Adebayo off the court, but Wiggins has played his best ball by a wide margin with Bam Adebayo not playing. I'm actually going to pull up the Wowie here because I was wowied by seeing these numbers, these numbies that we had off the court. Excuse me. My throat is getting worse by the hour because Alex has passed me back another fucking illness. We're doing great. But on this year, let's go back to last year. Let's go just this year. Again, real small sample size of just this year's stuff. But Wiggins in 93 possessions, so literally 1/10 of the amount of possessions we want to feel good about, having a sample size that matters. Wiggins has put up 31% usage, 18% assist rate, 16% rebound rate. He shot really well, whatever this amount of time he's played without Bam Adebayo. 1.45 fantasy points per minute. Could you imagine a world where Andrew Wiggins is putting up that much? There was a world last year on Miami where that happened, where they were kind of short on the roster. Wiggins got a lot of court time and was playing really well. I think Wiggins at 6,900. I have him 4.8 fantasy points higher than Stokastic, so that is, you're taking the leap off the cliff here with me on this one. But I'm getting him 3x the field. I think he's a good play. He and Norman Powell both. You have no hero out there. You have no Bam Adebayo now. That's a lot of stats floating around for Miami. And the total for Miami is pretty high with getting that 240-point implied total. And you're playing Charlotte, who sucks. So, it's a really good run out for all the remaining Heat. I am very excited to play lots of Heat players today. I think people will play Khalil Ware the most because he's going to play center. But they can go to, Jovic more there as well. In fact, real fast, let's see the popcorn machine for the Heat, because that could be important. Share this tab. So Bam didn't play the second half, so this will be our best read in how they want to approach things. Ware did play the second half and start. He also played a 9-minute stint, let's say, closed with 5 minutes, so would be on pace for about 28 minutes to play here. But all the minutes that he didn't play, we had Nikola Jovic in, along with Jaquez, Drew Smith, Fontecchio, and Kashad Johnson. So Jovic is your direct, I think, pivot for Khalil Ware, because he should be the backup center now. But a ton of minutes for Wiggins, ton of minutes for Mitchell, ton of minutes for Norm Powell here in that second half, and a ton of opportunity. Wiggins produced 10 points in this stint, 2 points, 6 peripherals here. Norm Powell didn't play that great. But with Bam out, the point is that there's minutes to go around. There's stats to go around. I think the Heat are really important plays today. So we're getting these guys, Wiggins. I'm getting these guys, Wiggins and Powell, above the field. And Porzingis, who I've liked on slates, the minutes have not been huge for him so far, which is definitely something. If you want to downgrade him accordingly for that, I wouldn't be mad at you for it. Porzingis playing really well per minute, but the minutes are a little spotty compared to some other guys. 6,700 though. I think the minutes downside's kind of priced in, but 20% ownership, yeah, that's a lot of ownership for a guy that is not likely to play 30 minutes anytime soon at the very least. And that's the value plays. Let's go game by game here real fast, and then we'll run a sim. But I'll give you one more ask, guys. Number one, check out Stokastic. 15% off, promo code SPLASH on there. Subscribe, hit the like button, all stuff that helps me out here a bunch. And join the channel, the Squirt Squad tiers, if you want all the stuff I show you here on screen, including this very matchup sheet I'm about to show you game by game. Updated throughout the night with my data, with some of the key stats as well, projected PRAs, all of that. Do join, get access to that stuff. Please, pretty please. Why not? All right. Boston, 111.5 implied points. This is the public version of it. Let me go over here. We get my sim on it. I'm not getting much of Boston. Same thing I've said every slate. Peyton Pritchard starting to shoot a little better each game. Derek White, not so much, but he's going to get there. These guys are shooting so far under league average right now, which is about 58% and change true shooting. 58% change, right? Yeah, that's what I said. These guys will shoot better at some point. I think they both were around 59%, 60 last year. So Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, someday they're going to have like an outlier going nuts shooting day. Maybe not today against Orlando, but it's like they're playing so poorly that doesn't last forever. But really the spot versus Orlando, not really getting anybody meaningfully, getting Kata a little, Pritchard a little, Minot a little. Nothing here stands out as a must-have play to me. Excuse me. Orlando, 115 implied. I've got nothing here. Desmond Bane playing terribly to start the year, 51% true shooting. Paolo, also jacking up a lot from mid-range, not playing super well, but he's priced like he is one of the stars of the slate. Stokastic has these guys even lower than I do. Paolo at 37.6, I've got him at 40.6. Franz at 31.2, I've got him at 31.6. They've got Bane at 26, I've got him at 29.6. Really big indoctrination of Orlando today. Nothing looks good here. Suggs playable, but his minutes aren't high enough because he's still hurt. Orlando's a mess right now. I think they'll figure it out. But to start the year, we're not even 10 games in yet, but it's looking pretty bad for Orlando to start. They just don't have any flow, and the offense is pretty shitty. Cleveland, massive total here. Donovan Mitchell went for a, come on, line up right. Just lines up a little bit off each time. Mitchell had over 60 fantasy points last game. He apparently, some kid on NBA 2K talked shit to him, and that's why he played so well. That seems pretty stupid. But they're playing Washington today, so if he's still mad at that kid, he might go nuts again. But ultimately for Mitchell and his projections right now, Darius Garland's back in. That upsets things overall. Garland did not start hot. 22% usage, 21% assist rate, missed everything with 36% true shooting and 0.58 fantasy points a minute. But he'll play better, and Mitchell will probably come down a little bit. So not really a priority for me at all with Cleveland. But that total, you don't see 127 too often. So that's a lot of points expected for Cleveland here. DeAndre Hunter has been the big winner overall in terms of usage on the year. He's been your number 2 usage guy on the Cavs. It's 26.8%. Boosted a little bit by that one game where everybody was hurt for the Cavs, but he's still shooting a lot, which is what he did last year for the Hawks. So I think he's kind of settling in to what he expects his role to be, which is getting more shots up than he did last year when he got traded and basically became just a 3-and-D guy. For Hunter, I'm at 17%. It's not a massive stand. Fields at 7, but Hunter's one of those guys right now. How he's playing this year and how his rates look, he looks like a much better player in my data than he does in Stokastic's data, where he projects for about 5 less fantasy points. Washington, Keyshawn George was a downgrade due to illness. Doesn't mean he won't play, but if he were not to play, Bilal Coulibaly is already out, so You would get more minutes for really all the Wizards at that point. Sar would look the best, though, and he currently looks playable to me with 9% sim ownership in my top 150. Keyshawn George, if he plays, I think he's playable. But these guys are sort of, as I talked about, really the last couple slates for Washington. Keyshawn George keeps creeping down because his role was shooting unsustainably hot, and his usage is not going to be as high as it was at the beginning of the year where nobody was available, basically. Alex Sar, though, steady 1.42 fantasy points per minute this year. He's playing pretty well. He's assisting better than it seems like he should. He's shooting well. He hits some threes. Alex Sar, I would say, playable in any slate. This one versus Cleveland, probably not the best one, but contrarian spot to play him, I guess. Toronto, I am low on all these guys here. A lot of usage for Toronto's top guys. Barnes, Ingram, Barrett, quickly, all above 20%. For Scotty Barnes, I've played him on slates. He paid off recently for me at not terrible ownership. He's really the best fantasy player right now on the team, but these other guys, if they go off in a given spot, it's going to hurt him enough. Barnes, I think, always playable here. I think the matchup versus Atlanta seems like a good one, but the price tags are not super generous to these guys, and any spot where there's always like a bunch of high usage dudes, I never really get a lot of because the production just gets chopped up like really aggressively. Atlanta, 119 implied points on their side. A lot of ownership for Jalen Johnson and Porzingis and Alexander Walker, over 20% plus for all those guys. It is a good matchup against Toronto. Right, again, a little bit softer than league average defense, giving up 115 points per 100 possessions. I would be happy to be with the field on these guys, but I am higher on Porzingis, higher on Alexander Walker, and lower on Jalen Johnson. If you keep chasing Dyson Daniels, he might pay off, but it really seems like his role is less good than it was last year, where there's just like a bunch of Hawks that were not available when Dyson Daniels played and Trae Young was out. Now you have like a lot of guys who get up shots, so it's just not the same situation for Dyson Daniels, who's still going to be mostly a defender at this point. Game environment seems appealing. You got a lot of games to choose from, but I feel like if I were game stacking, this one would be a spot where like taking a couple of Hawks, taking one Raptor, I think that could work. Detroit, 119 implied points. Brooklyn, 108.5. Jalen Duren getting 2x the field on him. Asar Thompson, a little bit more than the field. Isaiah Stewart getting a little bit more than the field. Ron Holland getting a little bit above the field as well, because he's producing over 1 fantasy point per minute to start the year. But Cade Cunningham, though, is the one that I think people will want the most in terms of a pay-up option. Field is only at 8%. I didn't get him at all. But Cade's been going nuts lately, and sometimes at NBA, people ignore the data a little bit more for chasing a guy who's playing well. Cade keeps putting up 10 assist games, and at a certain point, he will likely have a day where he gets a ton of shots up and takes some away from how Duren, how Thompson, how Stewart have been playing to start the year. So I have no issue playing Cade. I just have him pretty well projected at 1.4 fantasy points a minute compared to his 1.28 on the year. And I'm still not getting him, so I don't know what it takes to get Cade on the slate. Jalen Duren, though, happy to get him. Thompson, happy to get him. Stewart, happy to get him. And I'd be happy to get Cade. It just doesn't work out for my data today. Nets, I feel like I talked about enough before, but I am getting a lot more of Michael Porter Jr. for the second straight slate. Paid off so well for me last time. Was in half my lineups. Right now, projecting to be 3x the field on him again. My projection also 6 fantasy points and change higher than Stokastic for Michael Porter Jr. Nick Claxton, as I mentioned, looking pretty good as well. Man, looking good. Would certainly pay off more if you got some of these other guys failing. Tyrese Martin being with the field on him with 26% ownership. That seems fine. Clowney, same thing. He's starting at 3,900, not producing super well to start the year at 0.66 fantasy points a minute, but he's a good shooter. It'll get better for him than it's been with 49% true shooting to start the year. The Nets total is not great, but I think you take Cam Thomas out, that's like a big role that's gone. So I think these guys can hit, but it's like a lot of ownership for a game that doesn't have a great total. Does it seem like more of a Duren or Stewart day? I mean, it's whichever one's going to be lesser owned is usually the one you want to go with, but neither is going to be super chalky. So, I mean, I'll play them both above the field. But literally the last 2 slates, it was, you had, Duren super chalk and Stewart being a late announced starter because Tobias Harris got ruled out after lock. So he was just huge leverage. He went nuts. Last game, it was everybody was going Stewart again. Duren was a low owned leverage. That's just DFS. It's all the play is always, or should always be theoretically, playing some amount of the lesser owned leverage play, even if you're with the field on the guy who's chalk. Houston, 114.5 implied points. I got nothing here. Not a high pace spot. San Antonio's defense, not great, but the total's not great for Houston either. Seems like a more of a defensive spot on paper. But projection-wise, nothing is really there for me besides Alvin Thompson at 3% ownership. San Antonio, again, Wemby totally unowned, Giannis decently owned. That's really the biggest logic you can make for playing Wemby on the slate. Stephon Castle, though, I'm getting 34% of fields at 12. He's been playing really well to start the year. 1.13 fantasy points a minute on 62% true shooting with 27% usage and a 26% assist rate. That only looks better because Dylan Harper's out. Fox is still out. Castle, for as long as he has the run of the castle, with those guys not in, I think he's a really good play at 7,400. Price tag's getting lofty, though. Utah, getting Nurkic, another key play for me the last slate. Today, not so much at 6,300. He got there with barely scoring last game, which is kind of crazy. He's definitely going to shoot better at some point. 43% true shooting is not who Nurkic is. He can knock down threes as a big man. He's got 21.5% usage on the year. Playing him a little bit above the field, I think he's fine if you want to go a little bit higher than 7% ownership I have. Field's only at 5. But Utah, it's not a great total, and the Minnesota matchup, kind of iffy for everybody. So not a spot I'm crazy about Utah here. But, they're marketing George, Nurkic, pretty clear top group here. I would not chase Svi Mikhailiuk after his big day. Minnesota, you've got Ant back in, but Randall is still priced for Ant being out mostly. So there's really not a lot you want here. Total's good for Minnesota with 123 implied points. But it's a tough projection for Ant, only a 4.2x value. Randall, a little better projected because of those games he had where he went nuts without Anthony Edwards playing. This game, kind of nothing, really. The Giddler we've talked about already with Chicago and their 118 implied points. Giddey I like a lot. Think he is live to put up a triple-double in any game. Versus Milwaukee, though, can be a little bit tougher if the defense rises to the occasion. Right now, they're playing at basically a league average level. Vucevic, 5% for me, Fields at 7. You can definitely knock down some threes. It's not so much a Milwaukee thing anymore, but they used to historically give you a lot of open looks for setters from 3. It can happen. Trey Jones, Fields at 10. I'm getting 5. Desudmu, Fields getting 12. I'm getting 12. Desudmu was out last game. Probably does hurt Giddey a little bit to have another, point guard guy who creates assists, back in the lineup. But again, still really no issue with Giddey overall. And Jalen Smith is a value play at 3,500. He's playable. Game gets out of hand. He can hit. Giddey touchdown? Maybe. I hope he gets a triple double. I hope he gets a touchdown and a triple double. Milwaukee, 27.5% ownership for Giannis. Milwaukee, 122.5 implied points. Nice total for them. Not quite Cleveland level, but about as close as we're getting on today's slate. Getting Rollins 2x the field is the big stand here. I am low on Giannis. Really don't like being low on Giannis, but to me, it seems like balanced builds a little bit more the move today, and also playing into the 9K range. But I have Giannis projected for over 60, so play Giannis as much as you want. I really think that's totally fine. Ryan Rollins playing well, 1 fantasy point per minute on the year. Cole Anthony playing better. Does feel to me like Cole Anthony is always live to take minutes away from Rollins, but Rollins mostly closes games, probably because he's a better defender. You're really nothing here besides Giannis and a little bit of Rollins. But Miles Turner, I don't know. He's probably got a ceiling at 6K, just doesn't project well. Kuzma, no. Gary Trent, if you need it, maybe. Dallas, 114 implied points. Memphis, 118.5. Getting Gafford at 42%. Fields at 34. Getting D'Angelo Russell after he was so bad last game. And the minutes kind of flowed away from him too. He started for Klay Thompson, but that ended up not being good for him, as he played mostly like shit here. You missed 3 out of 4 shots, had a turnover. I guess he missed his first shot too. Second quarter, he missed a shot. They just took him out. And immediately went to Brandon Williams. Russell, though, is a massive usage player with AD off. He just played 21 minutes, and then Brandon Williams played 19, and they played Najee a little bit more, played Klay. The issue for Russell is if he's playing like shit, Jason Kidd's going to yank him, and that's it. If he plays well, though, he'll really smash. So D'Angelo Russell, 2x the field. I'm cool with that. PJ Washington's projected well for me all year. Right now I have him 4.5 fantasy points higher than Stokastic does. He looks like the best Mav right now, to be honest, but Cooper Flagg looked better against the Pelicans. Like, Memphis is playing like a dead team walking right now. So really think you can play any of these Mavs, but I'm willing to play Russell. Gets a very demotivated Ja Morant. Not going to play Flag. I guess that's the one guy I'm not getting to projection-wise, just because he's not doing enough yet with this roster mostly fully stocked besides AD, who is yet again out. Memphis, 118.5 implied points. Cedric Coward's the only one I'm getting. John Morant's getting cheap enough, but he's surly. Still taking up a 32% usage rate and a 41% assist rate. He's got a ceiling. It's just, I don't know when he's going to hit that ceiling with how demotivated he is with the coaching staff. Oh, shout out $20 super chat. Appreciate that. Spags are one of the hardest workers in DFS. I know I won 3,500 last night in Showdown. Hey, love to hear that. Congrats on the Showdown win. Felt pretty good about my takes for that NFL Showdown too, but I did not have turn a profit in NFL because I just didn't play enough Broncos D. I went flat Raiders D against them. I think you ended up needing both in a winning lineup. But I did cash in the one lineup I put in for the Clippers Showdown. So felt good about that. Went with a Bogdanovich captain for the dozens and dozens of you that watched the video yesterday. That was a silly slate. Showdown's fun, but congrats, Jim. Good work by you, man. That's awesome to hear. Charlotte. LaMelo Ball out's going to change things meaningfully. And our guy Doug back. Hey, congrats indeed. Always glad to see success in the chat as always. So yeah, for the Hornets, everything's going to move here. If I had to guess, I mean, you're taking away between LaMelo, who's kills about 77% of possessions, Sexton, who kills about 45%. Wait, no, sorry, 55%. Everybody's going to take a big leap up. Man, if he starts, looks good. If KJ Simpson starts, he looks fantastic at 3,500. Bridges at 8,600 would not have been playable to me before. Now he's incredibly playable. I think you're going to get a lot of Charlotte, and you should take whatever Charlotte you get. NFL was unwatchable last night. It was tough. I had on the basketball game on half my laptop and the NFL game on the other half. I was just fucking around on my phone while doing it. It wasn't the most fun. I agree, but what can you do? Thoughts on Powell, on Norm Powell? Oh, we're getting to him now. Love Norm Powell. I assume this is the Powell we're talking about. Dwight Powell, no. Love Norm Powell. Love Andrew Wiggins today. Again, massive rate increases for both these guys in the limited sample size of court time this year without Bam Adebayo. Jaime Jaquez does get more usage, but the price tag at 6,300, it doesn't seem like he's projecting as well for me as Wiggins and Powell do. But Wiggins and Powell, I mean, Wiggins' ownership seems low. Again, he's been a killer a couple times in Miami where there's been big usage holes. And with Bam gone, it's a big usage and rebound and assist hole being vacated here. So really, whatever heat you get, I'm not opposed to. Khalil Ware, I'm the lowest on, though. You do have Jovic taking minutes away. Right now, Stokastic, I believe, has this as a pure split where Ware is playing 25.5, Jovic is playing 23.4. I guess they have this guy Golden getting a few minutes as well. If Ware's minutes come up, he'll look better to me. My guess, again, based on that second half, we just looked at the popcorn machine. I think about 28 minutes would be my guess for Ware. So the projection minutes will probably be like 26 and a half, 27. But if Ware plays poorly, gets in foul trouble, Jovic probably gets a lot of minutes. So I think Ware will be more chalky for me and for the field when they do a date update. I think Jovic will be your direct pivot for Ware. And they can play a little bit together, but that's sort of how that looks. And then to me, the priorities besides that center situation is just Wiggins, Powell, and if you get Jaquez a little bit more, I wouldn't be mad at it. Davion Mitchell as well is coming up, 25% ownership for the field. I'm getting him at 19. He's not playing super well to start the year, 53% true shooting, 0.82 fantasy points per minute, but he definitely will gain some assist upside from not having Bam out there. And in your late slate games, I'm not going to talk about him because I'm not playing him. But if you are playing a late slate, here's Golden State. Here's Denver. Jokic looks good, but Murray, Gordon don't look bad. Christian Brown also looking better than I would think for me. Cam Johnson, though, looking awful. OKC, Holmgren's projection looks good for me. Taking Wiggins out helps out a lot. AJ Mitchell looking good. SGA, a little bit overrated as a pay-up option. Sacramento, nothing that good. Westbrook, don't expect him to be as good as he was last game because you're getting Levine and Sabonis back in. All right, let's run a Stokastic sim now, guys. You've seen my data. Let's see what me with no interference here, what it looks like. And we will not have updates for the Hornets, unfortunately. So, I I would like to figure out a way to do this, but I can't think of when it's going to work that fast. So let's just run it as it is. I got to go to my kid's Halloween parade. Which, by the way, yes, they are doing a week after Halloween, because I guess they didn't want to interfere with actual Halloween day, but I got to do that at 3:30, so I gotta make decent time here in this part. But keep your eyes peeled. Again, I'll be on live before lock later. We'll update my projections as well when there is a minutes update that comes through. But we'll definitely have something for you guys about the Hornets later on. And in the Discord too, when I drop the projections update, I'll make note of whatever took a big leap. But if you guys got any value to this video, again, please do check out Stokastic, 15% off with my promo code SPLASH. Link in the description. Can win you money, for sure, using their tools and data. They keep having guys killing on slates. One guy, Quinn, watches my content, 100K the other day. So shout out to him too. But there's a lot of guys that are killing it with Stokastic data. And if you use my stuff with Stokastic data too, I think you will find some interesting results. I say it like in a good way. It sounds like... I think you'll get good results using my stuff, cutting it with Stokastic projections as well. So please feel free to do that. And of course, join the Discord or join the channel here. If you join one of the Squirt Squad tiers in the channel, you can also join on iOS now. You do get access to my projections or the matchup sheet I show you here. And of course, if you just want to support the show as well, it is only $5 to join, and you get a cute little avatar. You get in the Discord. You get good stuff there too. But do those things, please. Your top ROI lineups right now, again, without the Hornets updates, so things are going to change. I'll talk about it later on the Live Before Lock show on Stokastic. You got Russell. Dyson Daniels makes this one. Stokastic loves that longer-term sample size, most likely, of Daniels when he had more usage, more assist rate. Brandon Ingram, Jalen Johnson, Daniel Gafford, Davion Mitchell, Pele Larson, and Khalil Ware. So my data definitely loves Wiggins, loves Norm Powell. This first run for Stokastic gives you the lesser heat. Davion, Larson, and Ware. Cam Spencer at number 2, RJ Barrett, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Giannis, Daniel Gafford, Dyson Daniels again, Pele Larson again, and Khalil Ware again. That Heat duo coming up a little bit here. No Davion in this one, though. Number 3 ROI lineup, Davion Mitchell, Dyson Daniels, Alexander-Walker, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, of course. The other one is not on the slate. Well, that'd be Gilgeous-Alexander, but whatever. Jalen Johnson, your hyphens. There's only one on the slate we care about. Jalen Johnson, Daniel Gafford, Trey Jones, Asar Thompson, Khalil Ware. You're getting Hawks stuff. You're getting Heat stuff. I think that's not a surprise. Number 4 is Nickeil Alexander-Walker again. Pele Larson again. Brandon Ingram makes it. Jalen Johnson again. He's in 4 of the top 5 ROI lineups for Stokastic. Nicholas Claxton, who I do like, makes it in. Davion Mitchell makes it in. Asar Thompson, Khalil Ware. At number 5, Davion Mitchell again, Pele Larson again, Alexander Walker again, Jalen Johnson again. Nikola Vucevic makes this one. D'Angelo Russell makes it again. Cedric Coward and Khalil Ware. So, Stokastic loving Ware, loving Jalen Johnson, loving Pele Larson, Davion Mitchell, Alexander Walker. That's it. Not all hyphenated Alexanders look the same. That's fair. I deserve to get canceled by all the hyphenated Alexanders. Top ROI players here. Cam Spencer, 2.8% ROI is the highest ROI guy. He is your backup for Memphis. If Ja Morant melts down, goes full Antonio Brown, Cam Spencer's going to get there today, guys. But besides that, he's just a bench guy. The 3,500 allows you to get in a lot of the studs, would be my guess. Number 2, we got Cedric Coward, 1.3% ROI. Shooting guard, small forward. That's nice. Price tag's not bad. Again, he's still shooting unsustainably hot, and it will come down a little bit further with one bad day, any day now. Khalil Ware, 1.2% ROI. Stokastic loves him. He was in all those top lineups. Vucevic at number 4. Pele Larson at number 5. But slightly negative ROIs for those two guys. They love Davion more than I do. That's true. Look, Davion's rates, I mean, with we could go back to the add more funds. I mean, he's only got a 33% assist rate, which is basically what he's had anyway. 19% usage. He's produced a little bit better at 0.95 fantasy points per minute, in the very limited sample size he's had without Adebayo, only 67 minutes. But, there's a case to be made that he is a better play. I just think I would rather have Wiggins and Powell personally. But we'll see. Highest exposed guys. Khalil Ware, 70% exposure in Stokastic's top 150. Fields at 29. So 41% leverage above the field on Khalil Ware. Asar Thompson, a little bit too cheap for how he's played this year, even though that $6,300 price tag does feel expensive. 53% exposure, Fields at 22, 31% leverage on Asar Thompson. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another guy I like a lot. Stokastic also really juking his projection. He has been your massive usage winner with Trae Young off the court. 48% exposure, Fields at 27. And Alexander-Walker, for what it's worth, like he got a massive contract this offseason. Mostly to be an elevated version of a 3-and-D guy, but now with Trae Young out, like he's the one who's the lead point guard. Daniel Gafford, 47% exposure, Fields at 30. I like Gafford as well. I'm with that. Jalen Johnson, 2x the field on him. I'm not getting there as much, but I do like Jalen Johnson as a play. One of those guys that can put up a triple-double in many spots. Overall, highest leverage guys. Larson seems like a good punt. He is, again, but it just depends how you project it. Like if you give more to Wiggins and Powell, Larson just kind of looks like a dude. But if you do what I think like Stokastic is right now, or at least how it seems, they're giving less to Wiggins, I know for sure, a little bit less to Powell, and they're giving a lot more to Davion Mitchell and Larson, and it's like, who do you expect to be your usage winners? I would think Wiggins and Powell would be. Highest leverage plays, Khalil Ware, guys we've all talked about already. Khalil Ware, Asar Thompson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson, and Davion Mitchell, 18% more in the field, 43% exposure. Fields expected to be at 24. Your most negative leverage plays, Tyrese Martin, negative 16% leverage. Terrence Mann, negative 9. Josh Giddey, the Giddler. They're low on the Giddler. Negative 8% leverage. Fuck me, huh? I'll be on the Giddler no matter what. Call me an almost 18-year-old in Newport Beach because I'm going to be all over. I'm going to be riding the Giddler to the finish line. Ayo Dosunmu, negative 8% leverage, only 5% exposure, Fields at 12. Dosunmu doesn't really excite me too much, but he's a decent value at 4,400 with multi-position eligibility, shooting guard, small forward. And Scotty Barnes, Stokastic fading pretty meaningfully, 0.7% exposure, Fields at 8, so 8% under. We'll do a quick hand build here. We got enough time. And then I'll give you guys my splash plays, even though they probably, once again, are going to be self-evident by the guys I put in this lineup here. And we don't have the Hornets update, so I'm just going to keep those guys out of my mind for now. But certainly, Miles Bridges, yes. Trey Mann, KJ Simpson, one of those guys, yes. Besides that, who knows? All right. Porter Jr. is one of my guys for sure. This is too high of a projection for him. He hit last game. I'll be right on that train once again. Small forward. Let's save small forward. Point guard. Point guard's got to be the Giddler. Stokastic's going to hate this lineup now, but the Giddler is one of my splash plays of the day, and I won't hear otherwise. I'm going to go a little bit Nets crazy here. I'm going to go Claxton. I feel like it's a little risky to go super Nets crazy, like putting a bunch of guys in a lineup, just because of the fact that it is not a high total, but I think you take Cam Thomas off the court and a lot of things can open up for a lot of guys. A shooting guard. I mean, Stephon Castle really projects incredibly well for me. Stokastic is going to like this as a play, though. Any value shooting guards? Hold on. Where's Powell? Norm Powell is a shooting guard. Okay. Let's put him in. I'm going to put Wiggy in too. Andrew Wiggins into our forward spot. We got 4,800 left for 2 spots. Well, Trey Mann isn't juked yet in the projection set because they still have LaMelo in. So there's no point in playing Trey Mann, but I'm playing Terrence Mann. So we got a man here. I would play Juwan Man as well if I could. More so in WNBA DFS. I think that would look better. I don't think I can afford Stephon Castle. Yeah, I can't afford Stephon Castle at this point. Do you like Castle a lot, though? Who's a guard? Who's a value guard, ideally? You know what? I like Gafford enough. Let me just see what I get when I put Gafford in. Gafford in utility. That leaves us 4,600 left for a guard. Doesn't feel like a herder day. Simons, Dosunmu. These dudes all kind of suck. We know the Sims like Pele Larson. I could play Pele Larson, I guess. So a lot of heat here. We got Giddey, Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton, Pele Larson, Andrew Wiggins, Daniel Gafford. Negative 4.8. What if instead of Larson, we just take the most expensive guy? We go Herder here. If this isn't positive, I give up because I need to go see my child be Spider-Man a week after he was already Spider-Man. Or negative 8% ROI. Well, fuck it. All right, guys, big things to watch out for. I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day in a moment. But before that, keep an eye on the Hornet stuff. It's going to move meaningfully. I will be on live before lock for Stokastic at 6 p.m. Eastern today. So come back for that one, and we will see how things look then. I am pretty confident, though, Bridges will look a lot better. Trey Mann's going to look better. KJ Simpson will look better. Whichever one of those chalk, be open to the other one. It's going to be how the slate looks, I think, based on ownership. Oh, actually, wait, I'm supposed to plug first. But also, subscribe, hit the like button here. Sometimes I'm so excited to talk NBA, I forget to shill before I give you guys my splash play. So please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment as well. It all goes a long way for me here. Keep help getting me over 100 likes. The more and more, the better. But of course, I'm here Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. every day, even days like yesterday, where it was only a one-game NBA slate. I still show up and do the work, give you guys my data, talk through it as best I can, and hopefully it adds value. That is always the goal that I'm trying to provide here. And if you're just going to fade everything I say, I give you my case, and you can do whatever you want with it. Check out Stokastic too, 15% off. Link in the description to go check it out. You can see why they want to fade Josh Giddey today, while me and the Giddler are riding dirty. But, you know, figure it out. Get the Sims. Cheap stuff, expensive stuff. NBA, NFL, whatever sports you're playing, it's all 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. And it does support the show. Half the money you pay to Stokastic comes back to me. That's the only way I could afford to do this every day. And I get my projections too. Squirt Squad tiers, join the channel, etc. All right, splash plays. Giddey, Josh Giddey. How could he not be? Michael Porter Jr. How could he not be? Daniel Gafford. Sure. Alexander Walker. Yes. Andrew Wiggins and Norman Powell. Yes. And I think just, again, projecting Charlotte without having seen the numbers, I think Miles Bridges would be my preference from the Hornets, but Trey Mann, KJ Simpson coming up, Kalkbrenner going to look a little bit better, though there's enough centers to go to. I'm not sure that's going to take a big leap up, but that's a lot of splash plays. Hope it helps, guys. But make sure to gamble responsibly, as always, guys, especially with this NBA NFL crossover. I know it could be, even though it is always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets on Twitter, at Splash Play Pod. Hit that like button and subscribe, and check me out at 6 p.m. on Stokastic, guys. I will hopefully see you there. If not, enjoy your weekends. Good luck. And I'll be on Stokastic tomorrow for NBA too. So if you want to play NBA, you got me 2 more days. The weekends with Spags. Keep it good. It's like weekend at Bernie's, except I'm fractionally more alive. But I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Happy weekends. Bye-bye.